Hello and welcome back to Beards, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your co-host Mike, and with me is the ever sweaty.
Conquer Corey.
And we are here on this summer day with this summer sale to bring you our top 10 games that we'd recommend you pick up if you don't have them already. This is not a list in any particular order. These are just games that we personally really enjoy and really like, and we would highly recommend that you pick them up while they're dirt cheap. Me and Corey both have picked out 10 games. We'll start with mine. The first one is going to be Alien Isolation.
Come on, Steam.
He's got to make sure that he's not 2 years old. As you know, we're all survival horror fans on this channel, and my list has quite a few survival horror titles. Shocker and all. Not all of them. But this game is extremely scary. They did such a good job on this. The horror aspect of it, the alien that walks around and follows you, it's so hard that you can't kill it. All you can do is scare it away. And while there's other enemies too, those you can hurt, but you're just trying to escape. You're trying to survive. You're playing Ripley's kid, which is a really, really cool throwback to the original films. This is one I highly recommend getting if you don't have it. It really holds up today.
And for $12 for all of them, that's not a pretty bad deal. I would definitely recommend just getting the bundle here instead of just the game, because it's like, what, $3 extra.
Oh yeah, it is totally worth it.
So yeah, definitely worth getting the extra game, and it has Steam Deck compatibility, so it gets props for that.
Yep. So you can just play in your free time and scream while you're laying in bed.
All right. What's your next one?
Next one is going to be Crow Country. This is one we just got through doing a Let's Play on the channel of. If you haven't watched it, go and check it out. It is on sale. It's not a huge sale on this one. It's only a 10% off. But the game itself is such a huge throwback to old survival horror games. The puzzles are great. The stuff you've got to do. The combat system is a little wonky. I will say that, but once you get used to it, it's fine. But the puzzles and things alone in this game just make it worth the money. And I think it was like a 7-hour game or something like that. It's not too awful long, but you're probably 6 hours you could beat it in. I highly recommend it. It's definitely worth the money.
Oh, for sure. This game is great. Again, discounts not that steep, but then again, it's still cheaper than some of the things that I've added on my list. Even when they're on sale. But yes, great game. Not very long. It's about 4 or 5 hours, like you said there. You will be pleasantly surprised, especially if you love Silent Hill, Resident Evil. Me and Mike went into this one not knowing what to expect, and then, well, you seen our Let's Play of it. We were fanboys at the end of it. We were like, give us more.
I must have more.
Speaking of
my next pick is going to be Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Honestly, either of the Pathfinders would be fine. Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous or Pathfinder Kingmaker. These games are so in depth. From Owlcat Games, they're so in depth. There's so much to do in them. They follow the campaign storyline really good. If you have ever played Pathfinder, do any kind of D&D, enjoy D&D at all, it's just D&D in a game. There's literally D&D in a game, and you can do two kinds of combat. You can do turn-based combat, just like you would on the tabletop game if you're playing with friends, or you can do real-time combat. I personally like the tabletop, or the turn-based ones. It just makes it a lot easier to keep track of, and it's so fun, and it's so many hours of gameplay. You can play this forever and change up what you do different paths, do different things, and honestly, for $11, it's totally worth it.
Yeah,
it's an insane deal.
Pretty good discount there at 70%. So looks like it's only about 3 years old. Roughly,
yeah.
So
you could spend a couple of months playing this and not do everything.
Well, on the note of tabletop, it looks like we got another tabletop game listed here.
My next one is Tabletop Simulator. It's 50% off. It's a $10 thing, and the reason why Tabletop Simulator is on there is not for the regular little board games you can play, but the mod community. The mod community in this game is insane. You can download games to play Warhammer 40K on here, Age of Sigmar on here. You can play Magic the Gathering on here, all kinds of card games. You can even host with your friends and play Dungeons and Dragons on there. Any kind of game you think of is probably turned into a mod for this game. It's the possibilities are endless. And for $10, it's great. Like, say you have a friend who you want to play a board game with, but they're so far away you can't get together. You can do it on Tabletop Simulator.
And it looks like they got a 4-pack that you can buy as well. So if you have a group of 4 friends, you all can split it.
Yeah, and it's
4
30
different ways.
bucks.
Yeah,
which is even cheaper.
And for those that you mentioned Warhammer 40K, this is the cheapest way to play any kind of Games Workshop game. I've said it. I'm going to be put on James's hit list now. I'm dead, but the Inquisition's going to come for me. But this if you don't have you don't have a whole lot of disposable income, because it's no secret that Warhammer and Age of Sigmar are 40K and Age of Sigmar are very expensive games. It takes a lot of money to get into, and sometimes you may be busy. I play it on the tabletop, and I maybe play once or twice a month. That's it, because I just can't meet with my friends. So this gives you a good opportunity to play a lot more often, and you don't have to worry about investing in things to, that steep investment that 40K has. All right, so another one on the list here is this one.
Valheim. Valheim is a survival game for 1 to 10 players. You basically set up your own little world, and they can hop in and play with you. It is a massive world. The art style will turn a couple people down, but you shouldn't. It is a lot of fun. You build a base. You are trying to kill 8 bosses. You're basically in the afterlife, the Viking afterlife, and you're trying to kill I think 8 different bosses, and it's been in early access for a while because all the bosses have been out, but they are finally out. I think the last one got released, so it's about to come out early access. And just the amount of content, the amount of time and fun, and the stuff you can do with your friends in it is definitely worth it for $10. And as you defeat bosses, you unlock new things, unlock new building material, unlock new weapons you can craft, unlock different things you can do, different powers. Like after I think the 5th boss, you unlock magic. Until then, you don't have magic, so it's just. And I love building in games like this, and Ark. I love building. That's my thing, and you can do so much in this game with the tools they give you to build.
Yeah, so this is one that if you are early followers of BB&G, Mike and I actually did a playthrough when this game was in early access, I guess I should say. And we spent hours, literal hours, probably days combined, just preparing our base, getting things together. It is truly a great game, and for $10, I promise you're going to get way more than $1 per hour. It's going to be like, out of all the hours you play in this game, you're probably going to get like, it's probably going to be, at the end of the day, it's going to be, or end of the time, it's going to be like 10-20 cents an hour is what you paid. You're gonna get that much time, and it is a great game. Now the graphics, as you mentioned there, some people turn off it, but one thing I like about the graphics being low is it lowers the bar of entry. So if you don't have a powerful computer, or you have like a little school laptop that's not that great, you can play this on it. And that's what I love about these little AAA games is you don't have to have high-end gaming PCs to play them. You can get by playing on normal everyday things that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So. Well, this is no shock that this one's on the list.
This one just has to go on the list. There's not much I can say about this one. Resident Evil 2, the remake. The Resident Evil 2 remake is great. It's glorious. They did such a good job on it. $10 for that. If you haven't played it, do yourself a favor. Play it. Get it. If you're a fan of Resident Evil, you should have played this already.
It's Steam Deck verified.
Yeah, Steam Deck verified. I actually play this on my Steam Deck when I don't have anything else to play. It is definitely worth it. So not much for me to add there. I've tooted this horn enough. The next one, I kind of threw all these together, but Final Fantasies in general, because they're literally all on sale right now. They just had the remasters of like 1 through 6. The original Resident Evil 7 is on sale. The new Resident Evil 7 is on. I'm sorry. Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 is on sale. They just remastered those. They're all available on there. The original Final Fantasy 7 is on there for real cheap. The new remake is on there for 50% off with the DLC. So if you haven't got to play that yet, it's worth playing if you're a Final Fantasy 7 fan. It's a little kooky. It's a little different. It's more of a, I don't know if a remake is the right word for it, reimagining maybe. But it's just all Final Fantasies in general. They're good times. It's fun. You can do whatever you want to.
I really would have liked to seen this go on a bigger sale.
Yes.
The 1 through 6 bundle, but it is what it is. But yeah, a lot of great options there for sure. And the original Final Fantasy VII, a little fun fact for those that may not be aware, is the original Final Fantasy VII is on. You put it on Steam Deck, and there is a mod called Seventh Heaven that adds graphical updates to it and voice acting.
Yes.
It's community voice acting, so take it as you will.
But still, that's amazing. Next one, Dead by Daylight. This is a game that I still play to this day. I think I have maybe 300 hours in this game. When this game originally came out, so basically, if you haven't played this game before, you either play a survivor, one of 4 survivor, or you play a killer. And the killer's job is to kill the 4 survivors, of course. Duh. The survivors they're trying to escape. In order to escape, you have to successfully repair 5 generators and then open a door and get out of here. You're sucked into this world by the entity who's basically some evil thing who's trying to take your souls, and they use the killer to do those. And there's all kinds of different killers in these games, and they keep doing collaborations with different people. They've done collaborations with Resident Evil. They've done collaboration with Silent Hill, Stranger Things. Basically, all kinds. They just did a Dungeons and Dragons one where there's a lich will come after you, and they release new characters all the time. They're constantly doing updates on this thing, and you get new abilities when you max out a character. You can get another character. You can swap abilities out. There's just so much replayability with it. And if you're playing with friends, it's a lot of fun. There's no in-game comms, so you have to like use hand signals with people and stuff. But you can cheat and get on Discord with your friends and do a little better. But this is one that I've put a lot of time into, and if you want to have a good fun with your friends, that's kind of scary. Definitely give this a try.
Yeah, Mike's dragged me in a couple of these games. He's significantly better than I am, but a lot of times I sacrifice myself so he can win because that's what true friends do. Moving on to one of our top favorites, because this was actually on my list too.
Tormented Souls. This is a love letter to Resident Evil. We played this game and it blew our mind. There is a second one coming out to this, and we can't wait. We are all there, all day, ready to go whenever they're ready to drop it. Puzzles, an awesome story, horror, scary things. I mean, there's this thing that chases you around like Mr. X does, or Mr. Whatever, chases you around in Resident Evil. You have to figure it all out. You have to do all these things, and the story, like when you don't see the story coming, and when you finally figure it out, you're like, "Holy crap! How did this happen?" Definitely recommend this if you're a survival horror fan, especially classic survival horror fan, like the old school Resident Evil stuff. This is something you really need to pick up for, and for 75% off, it's a no-brainer. I bought 2 copies of this game. I bought one for Steam, and I bought a physical copy because I loved it so much.
For sure, $5 for this is an absolute steal. If you have not played it and you love those classic survival horror, you owe it to yourself to give this one a go. And I'm really happy to see a lot of these types of games come back, make a resurgence, because there for a while we had quite a bit of a survival horror drought, and everything started going to action because certain games, Resident Evil 5. But yes, great game. You owe it to yourself. We're super excited for Tormented Souls 2. Cannot wait.
The last one is Star Ocean. Star Ocean's also on here because it's kind of got nostalgia to me. This is a game I played when I was a kid. It was one of my first games for PlayStation. And I absolutely loved it. There is something like, there's like 80 characters or something that you can find. and it's not always the same way. There's a bunch of different endings. The story is just really in depth and done really well. You can play two different main characters. You can play the girl or the guy, and I cannot remember their names off the top of my head.
Reyna and Claude.
That's it, Rain and Claude. The combat system's fun. It was really innovative for its day, and now that it has been remade and re-released, it's even better. You can actually play with the original voice acting if you want to. Don't recommend it.
Oh, it was bad back then. I actually, so I'm gonna tell on myself a little bit. Mike's gonna kill me, and he's probably gonna ask for my friendship card back.
That is my 10 games that I recommend, though. I hope you like those. Corey, what about yours?
All right. Well, so there's going to be a couple that I'm not going to cover because you covered them already, and that is Star Ocean Second Story R and Tormented Souls. We both agree that was just amazing. With my list, I did a little bit of different things. I just want to bring some things to some people's attention that maybe you looked over for whatever reason. This is one that I was really surprised with, and it really worked out really well. And again, it could be nostalgia, so take it as you will. You may think this game sucks, and that's okay if you do. This is my list anyways, so ha. I'm kidding, I love you. But RoboCop Rogue City. This is one that came out fairly recent, and it's on a pretty decent sale, half off. Probably get a little bit cheaper if you check on Green Man Gaming and some of the I think Fanatical is the official Steam one. Just be careful, don't buy the gray party sites for keys and things. It's just never good to do things like that. So with this one, it is a throwback to RoboCop entirely. Like, it plays the dun 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 music when you're walking and stuff.
Oh, yes.
Like, completely, you see the target. It's got the targeting, and you're thinking, well, he was awful slow. Well, you're slow in this one too. This is a new take on a first-person shooter. You're not running around. There is a sprint button, but your sprint button is like a brisk walk because RoboCop is not fast. He's a walking tank. And they simulated this in this, where you're taking damage and stuff, and you got repair kits, but you're like a walking boss, essentially, and you're just shooting everything, and it just works. The nostalgia is great. The story is kind of, I mean, it's not the strongest thing in the world, but it's for the fans of RoboCop, and I promise you that if you love the first three RoboCop movies, that's the only ones I watch, because after that it gets a little weird, apparently. But I loved RoboCop 1, 2, and 3. I loved it. I loved it as a kid. And this did not disappoint me. I got it. I loved it. I was running around. And they actually got the original actor of Murphy to do the voice of RoboCop.
Really?
Yes, it's the original actor.
That's awesome.
So, you're drop it. You hear his iconic lines, and you're like, he said the thing!
He said the thing!
But it's a great game. If you love RoboCop, you owe it to yourself to play this game. I promise you will not be disappointed. Now, PC, there was some issues there. I don't know. I played it during the launch, so there was some stuttering and stuff there, and I think they've done some patches. But take advantage of Steam's refund policy if it don't run well on your computer, and get it on maybe on consoles. But I promise you, you'll love this if you love RoboCop. Next one is actually a survival game. So same kind of concept as Valheim, but it's only 30% off, so it's not a very, very steep discount. But that is V Rising.
It's almost made my list. This almost made my list.
It just recently came out of early access. So if you want to know what it is, think Diablo mixed with survivors, mixed with a survival type game, and vampires, and you got it. So the concept is vampires were defeated by humans. You are a resurrected vampire, and you got to rebuild your kingdom, and you're collecting these bosses. So it teaches you how to craft, it teaches you how to go on, and you build your base, you start collecting things and crafting powerful weapons, fighting bosses, and it gives you a list of all the bosses, and you got to work your way up. You got to build your strength so you can fight these bosses all the way up to the big man himself, Dracula, where you steal his powers. And what I like about this one is a lot of survival games are not really sometimes they're not as solo player friendly. They're meant to be played together. And this one most certainly has an online system, but there is a single player mode that you can actually use. Instead, you can enable the single player mode that tailors it to a single player experience. And even if that single player experience is too hard, you can adjust your own server settings. So if you don't want it to be so time gatey and you just want to enjoy the game but not spend 150 hours or starting your meals to to make your cloths and wait literal 30 minutes for all of them to process, you can tweak those settings to make it more approachable. Let me just use that word. So it is a great game. I beat it recently and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And with the release update, they have Castlevania elements in there. I actually got to fight Simon Belmont, and as a vampire, he is very scary.
I'd hope so. That's his whole thing.
I squealed a little bit, but great game. If you like vampires, you like survival games, you like Diablo style gameplay, I think you'll feel right at home with this one, and you will not be disappointed with the money that you spend on it. You will get your monies back in the time. So here we have a game that released on, I think it was Kickstarter. It was Kickstarter. Yes, Kickstarter. It's called Small Saga. So it is an RPG from the perspective of rodents.
This is really cool.
Yes. So, and I'm going to be honest. I full disclosure here. I did not play and beat this game. I regret doing this, and this is why I'm posting it here, so you don't make the same mistake I made, because I need to buy this to support the devs. I watched this on a Let's Play, because I didn't know if I'd enjoy it. I thought, this looks a little silly. And then at the end of it, I couldn't stop watching. I was so enthralled by the story, and I should have just played it myself. I regret to this day that I didn't. And developers, it looks like it's this one guy. If you watch this video with something, I promise you I will throw money your way and I will support you regardless, and probably play through it again myself because it is really good. So to give a context, it's about this. It centers around this mouse who has a very much Guts-like appearance, as you can see here. He's got the whole large pocket knife as a sword. They're using actual human weapons, as they refer to as god weapons, because humans appear to be gods to these little rodents that were so tall and massive and titanic. And it's a very simple RPG, but what's great about it is the story. The story is so enthralling, and I don't want to spoil it, but it has a lot of moments where you're just biting your nails at the edge of the tension. You're like, oh gosh, what's going to happen here? And it didn't go on sale for much, but it's not very expensive to begin with. This is a great game. It has a demo. If you love RPGs and you like stories like I do, you will not be disappointed with this one as well.
I'm gonna have to pick this one up too.
I promise you will like it. This one, this may cause a little bit of controversy with some people. Some people may not like it because you can look at it. It looks like it's a cheap asset flip at first. It was made by one person. This is called Mecha Knight's Nightmare. So the reason why this one landed on my list is because I was pleasantly surprised with it. I bought it because I was in a really big move love kick. And for those that don't know, Move Love is like it's a visual novel series, and it's one of those that you can ask Mike. I don't shut up about.
Yes.
I am like an extended car warranty salesman when it comes to Move Love. Mike will be sitting in the middle of nowhere looking at games, and I was like, has anyone told you about Move Love? Has anyone told you how great this story is? Did you know that there is a story that will just bring you happiness, sadness, and hate and regret all at the same time? And that is Move Love. But this ain't about Move Love. This is about this. So it's got the same concept. Basically, Russia and the United States are at war. They're using mechs, and these aliens appear out of nowhere and take over Russia and start to take over the world, and you're working with NATO to try to push them back. Those of us who like Move Love will know this story sounds very, very familiar. That's because the developer based it on Move Love. He was inspired by it when he made this. It's got cheesy voice acting. The character, he tries to act like a cool guy. The girl is like all cheerleader-like in her voice acting, but it's charming. It's got that charm to it. You could tell it was a lot of people's first experience with games, but it's a very simple arena shooter where you customize your mech. It's got some Armored Core elements where you get to change your loadouts and things like that. You're thrown in an arena with an objective. You're boosting around like you're zipping and zooming. You got Gatling guns and rockets, and you call in airships to give you support. And you're gunning down these mass hordes of red aliens that they flavorly. I can't even talk. That they called the Reds. So a little funny take on, you know. But great. It's a good game. Honestly, for $7, I bought it at $15 and I loved it. It even had a DLC come out that I enjoyed. I really liked it. It may not be your cup of tea, but at this time when I bought it, there was an Armored Core drought, and it scratched that itch. Next one on my list is Chained Echoes. So this was one I've been playing. I need to finish it. It gives me a lot of, and it probably shouldn't give me these vibes, but it gives me a lot of Chrono Trigger vibes.
Oh,
it's an RPG. Again, made by a very small team, or if not one person, I think. But it gives me a lot of Chrono Trigger vibes, but it's got a different kind of system. So what happens is when you attack, you have a little gauge here, and as you attack or get hit or things happen, you fill up the meter, and your goal is to land in this green zone right here. When you land in this green zone, that means you're doing the most amount of damage at the least amount of cost. The cost of your spells go down and everything like that. But if you keep spamming the same things over and over, you end up in this red zone where abilities start costing more and you start taking more damage. So what happens is sometimes when you get up here, you have to rest or wait, so that way you stay in that green zone. So it's a real interesting take on the combat system. So a little different than most JRPGs, but it worked. It's a good little. I reckon it's a pretty good long game too. So if you like long RPGs, but the art style is neat. The story so far seemed interesting. The characters, and like I said, the combat was really solid. And just like that, Mike just made another purchase.
Yep, I may be adding these as we go through them.
Next one on my list is Surprise, another mech game. For those that don't know me, I love my robots. I love giant stompy robots. I dig it. Front Mission is a game a lot of us know that in the mecha genre that we love so much. We know of back in the Super Nintendo. I think you could actually get an English translation of it. But the problem was it was super hard. It was a really hard game.
Yeah.
This is a remake of that first one. Now, I owned it on the Switch, and I beat it on the Switch, but it is out on PC for $17, and I think that's a good price, especially if you like strategy games and you like mech games, because the way this game works is it's based on the original one, but with updated graphics, but this one gives more modern accessibility, so you can lower the difficulty. And I had to. I know, call me a scrub, say skill issue all you want to. The original was hard, dude. It had some bullcrap moments. Like, I'm talking someone fires a missile from across the map and then blows off your main weapon arm. Because as you can see there, when your mech takes damage, it could blow off your main rifle arm, you lose your weapon. They could pot shot you from across the map or something, or some, and then hit one of your main weapons and blow it off, and you lost your primary weapon. So it's realistic in that regard. Now, it does have the standard difficulty mode that you can play, but you can make it easier. It also has a campaign mode that was only present in the DS version, I believe, where you play the other side of the story as one of the opposing armies, and it's a lot more difficult. So, really good tactical RPG-ish, kind of RPG-ish mech simulation game that, if you like mech games, you'll love it. I'm really glad that they're doing this. They actually have the second one out as well that I need to pick up, and I believe they're going to remake the third one, which is very exciting because a lot of them didn't come out to the U.S. after like the third one. So we're going to start getting some in the U.S. that was not released. So we already covered Star Ocean and Tormented Souls. So the last one on my list is another Trayon game. Same makers of Robot Cop Rogue City. Tayon, or however you say it. Terminator Resistance. This is another one of those fan service games that if you love Terminator, you owe it to yourself to play this, especially at like $12. It is a really good game. You get to play as a resistance soldier in the war. You know, the thing that we want the movies to show more of. And
Yes.
no, I'm not talking about Terminator Salvation. That was garbage.
Dun 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 dun.
Yes, so this has all the classic themes. It has references back to the original Terminator movies. Like you actually walk by Big Boys with the buns, the boy statue with the two big hamburger buns, and it has a lot of nods to the original too. And what's really cool is you get the perspective as a resistance soldier. And some people kind of dogged it when it first came out for being too easy. They did change up the difficulty and made the AI a little bit better. At first, it felt like a shooting gallery. But when I played through it again, I noticed that the Terminators were actually fighting back pretty well. There is one particular scene that stands out to me, is you have to infiltrate this hospital, and you don't have anything that can fight a T-800. See, the T-800s, you hit them with a shotgun, and it just stuns them. You have no weapon because you don't have plasma rifles at that point of the game, like you see here. And you're trying to sneak around this hospital hearing people screaming, and you're looking through vents and you're watching the T-800s drag humans away, and they're clawing at the ground saying, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And then you find out they're stripping off their skin to create the infiltrators.
Oof.
But what's also really cool is there is a mode called Infiltrator that they added, where you get to play as a T-800, and it does their own little storytelling of how Skynet found out who John Connor's mother was.
Oh, that's cool.
You get to play as the Terminator who discovered who Sarah Connor is. It sets
That's really cool.
And the game actually ends where the movies pick up. So you get to actually take place. You get to take place in that final assault. You get to meet John Connor, the man, the legend, and take place in that final assault against Skynet. And it's just epic all the way through. It's a great game. It's a first-person shooter, but like I said again, it's if you love Terminator, you owe it to yourself to play this game. I know it got a little bit better than Rogue City, but it's just good. Play it. Just play it. I promise you, if you love Terminator, you will not be disappointed with this. Before you get your pitchforks out and your torches, open your just be a little open here with me. Mega Man X Dive Offline. Yes, it is a mobile game that was re-released on the PC, but it is a game that you can play start to finish with none of the gotcha mechanics. It gets a little grindy to unlock things, but it's not terrible, and there's mods that kind of help with that. But Mega Man X Dive has a good story on its own. I mean, it's not the greatest story in the world. It's a mobile game. It's meant to be a gotcha game, and one that you probably know from previous videos that I have played a lot, and I don't want to talk about it any more than that as far as how committed I was to it. I wasn't overboard, but looking back, I probably gave it a lot more money than I should have. But what have I become? But this basically, after they shut down the game in Taiwan was shut down, and then they immediately made an announcement that they made an offline version that you can play start to finish offline, and all the characters except for the collab characters, and I'll get to that in a minute, can be unlocked through the game, through playing the game. So if you like Mega Man X, and let's face it, guys and gals, we haven't had a lot of Mega Man X love in a long time. We're huffing that copium, right? We're saying any day now Capcom's going to hear us, and we just keep taking deep breaths. This one scratches that. It's pretty cool because you have all these characters that you can unlock, all these skins that you can unlock. It plays like a Mega Man X game. It's got the same gameplay as Mega Man X, basically. It's half off right now, so it was originally $30. Honestly, at $30, I liked it. I bought it at like $25, and I'm enjoying it. Even as someone who played the live service game, because all those characters that I really couldn't get through the random gotcha mechanics, I can now play as. And so if you're a huge Mega Man fan, you'll like this. It is good, and it was good faith by Capcom to release this so people could enjoy it even after the game shut down. Yes, you don't get the PvP aspects of it, but I really don't care about PvP. Now you may, and there may be a deal breaker for you. But this one is also on my list because I think any Mega Man X fan will enjoy this. As I mentioned earlier, the collab characters are missing. So like Monster Hunter, which is odd because that's a Capcom franchise, and the Devil May Cry. But there is a modding community that restored the Devil May Cry characters, so you could have Dante Zero or Dante X and Virgil Zero and their weapons. So there is a modding community. I'm really excited to see what the modding community does with it. Hopefully they add more to the story and add more levels and things like that. But yeah, definitely give it a go. But that completes my list.
Awesome. Well, that's about all the time we have for this. What did you think of our lists? Was there games on here that you want? Was there games that you have? Do you have any recommendations for this year's summer sale that we should get? Let us know. We're always buying way too many games that we have no time to play. But as always, I'm your co-host Mike, and with me was
Conquer Corey.
Until next time,
keep on gaming.